for the second time in 4 years, the New York Football Giants actually have won the Super Bowl.
And
Props,
fourth time in 4 decades.
props, JJ. I mean, JJ has always been a huge supporter of the show. Congratulations, buddy. I mean, your team won the Super Bowl. But please come on the show anytime you wish. We're gonna hit the game. Giants win 21-17. It's a huge victory for number one, the New York fan base.
Yes.
Because I mean, as if New York needs any more
That's what I was thinking.
um, championships.
But you could argue the same for Boston.
Well, this is true. So I mean, the Northeast can just.
No one likes you.
But let's get started. The first. Anybody raise your hand if you actually knew that the first score of the game was going to be a safety.
There's a guy that won $50,000 on a bet that the first score of the game would be a New York Giants safety. And I heard today that, I don't know if it's true or not, I have no way to validate it, but I heard that today he's giving it all to charity.
Well, that was good.
So
Yeah.
props to him, and come hang out with me next time the Super Bowl rolls around.
Tom Brady throws an intentional grounding penalty in the end zone, which in turn makes a safety. It's a huge play, and I think it's a valid. I mean,
he should have known better. Been playing way too long to be throwing intentional groundings in the end zone.
5 minutes later, the Giants end up in the end zone again. Victor Cruz with a huge touchdown, which the linebacker for Patriots almost jumped the route and would have had almost an incredible pick six, but instead it was just a little bit behind.
He played the ball. He missed the tackle.
So you're sitting there at the end of the first quarter, and it's 9-0 Giants, and I bet you every single Patriots fan was going,
I was watching the game with a huge
crap.
Patriots fan. He was not happy when a 9-0 deficit.
Early in the second, though, a Gostkowski field goal ends up being 9-3. Suddenly, we're only a touchdown away. Speaking of, with 8 seconds later, or 8 seconds left to go, Danny Woodhead gets a touchdown from Tom Brady.
Yep.
Patriots go up 10-9 at halftime. So suddenly everybody's...
Now we got a game on our hands.
Everybody's like, okay, this is pretty good. Leading off into the third quarter, I think it was first drive, Aaron Hernandez gets a 12-yard touchdown pass.
Yep.
Huge play. Again,
17-9. Now it's a 2-score game.
It's a rough patch for the Giants at this point because you're thinking, oh my God, we have to go up against...
Things have taken a drastic change.
But 2 Lawrence Tynes field goals later, and we're down to 2 points in the third quarter.
Yep.
Going into the fourth.
Nearing the end of the fourth, we're at the same score.
Yeah, 15-17 at the end of the third quarter. Going into the fourth, I mean, we're down to 2 minutes left in the fourth at the 2-minute warning, and it's still 17-15.
Yep.
Giants are pushing down the field, though. And it's a huge play for Ahmad Bradshaw to run into the end zone because he went in practically untouched. And he really did go in untouched. And I think if you're the defensive coordinator for the Patriots, did you call that on purpose?
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. Without any doubt at all. The defensive line just stood up. There was no question at the time. Everyone watching it in real time knew what the Patriots were doing. And quite frankly, that was a brilliant strategy. That was their only playable strategy.
And if you're Ahmad Bradshaw, I mean, a lot of people are calling him, he should have knelt down.
He tried.
I mean, the guy did everything in his power. Guys, get off of him.
If you've seen the video, you know that he tried. When you get that ball, you expect to have to run with all your might to get to that end zone. And when no one stopped him, there was a lot of momentum to try to slow down in 5 yards, and he didn't quite get there. Dropped into the end zone. There was no way he was getting down. Brandon Spikes was getting ready to level him into the end zone if it was necessary.
Ahmad Bradshaw hits a 6-yard run to go up 21-17. They tried for a 2-point conversion, failed. That ended up being the final score.
Yep.
With a huge play from Tom Brady there at the end. Gronkowski almost came up with that ball on the last second. I mean, he was just inches away.
Hail Mary.
But let's hit Tom Brady real quick. He had a decent game.
He did.
27 to 41, 276 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. I mean, the pick was huge.
Yeah.
Let's not lie. But
it was unnecessary also. I mean, it was a very unnecessary pick.
Compared to Eli Manning's numbers, though, 30 of 40, 296 yards and a touchdown.
Certainly the more solid numbers.
And everybody at the beginning of the season scoffed at Eli Manning when he was saying, I deserve to be brought in with those elite quarterbacks. Why not now?
I
He's got two
I
Super
don't
Bowl
have an
rings
argument
now,
now.
and he played probably one of his best seasons ever in his
Yeah,
career.
I don't have an argument. I mean, I've never been a huge Manning supporter of either Manning. I'm not going to take anything away from him, but I've never seen them as the second coming. But I certainly am not going to argue with two championship rings. I mean, that's two more than I have recently. So I'm certainly not in a position to be able to point the finger at anybody.
The two-headed rushing monster of the Giants, Jacobs and Bradshaw, actually end up with over 100 yards rushing, which is shocking because your your defense is giving up 300 yards passing almost. Your offense, you have to think your defense has to stop the run. If you're giving up 300 yards, you need to stop the run at some point. They gave up over 100 yards rushing, which is not heard of for a Super Bowl team, especially a Super Bowl defense. Um, especially, I think, since the Patriots were favored. What did the defense do differently that they did all season? Because they stopped the Denver running
They did.
issue and couldn't stop them from passing. But
The Giants just came in with the mentality with we're going to pound it and you can stop it as many times but we're not going to stop doing it. And the mentality was not to win the game rushing, but it was to pound it so much that by the time Eli Manning was ready to pass, the Patriots weren't looking for it, and it actually worked surprisingly well. They threw to the corners on inexperienced cornerbacks. They had that all day. They over the middle. They didn't try it with the linebackers. It was always contained. There was nothing. Tight end actually tore his ACL in the game, but he was not productive because the Patriots had the middle on lock. But there were inexperienced cornerbacks on the sides, and they got owned by Manningham and Victor Cruz.
well, let's give the Patriots defense some props. They did keep Victor Cruz down to only
They
25
did.
yards. On the other hand, they gave up 109 yards from Akeem Nicks and 73 yards from Mario Manningham,
Yep.
who had a monster game. And aside from where he went to college, which I still can't stand him for, but he had an outstanding catch, which a lot of people, and I think I saw this on Jeremy's Facebook yesterday that he commented on. Somebody has posted greatest Super Bowl catch ever.
No, nothing will ever beat David Tyree's Super Bowl catch.
Or let's think about Lynn
Oh,
Swan's
that's
catch.
also true.
I mean, come on.
Steelers now plays for the Jets.
Santonio
Santonio
Holmes.
end zone catch,
That-
spectacular.
Yeah, so I mean,
Not
let's,
even close.
let's not
Maybe
call
in the
it
top
there.
10. Don't get exaggerated.
But let's move over to the other side of the football, or to the other end zone. The Patriots had a subpar day. Their offense was
And they had several chances.
just, it didn't look like it was clicking. Aaron Hernandez was actually the leading receiver, which is not shocking considering most of the games that the Patriots played this year, either Gronk or Aaron Hernandez had the big game, but you have to think Wes Welker had a game. I mean, Wes Welker had 60 yards with 19 as his longest, with one really, really missed chance.
Yep. And it may have been the game. It may have been the game because it would have given the Patriots a first down. It would have stopped the clock. You still got time left, and certainly Tom Brady you can't count Tom Brady out. You couldn't even count him on the last play with that Hail Mary. I mean, but yeah, tough for him because if he catches that, the Giants get a lot uneasier. I'm not saying the Giants lose, and I'm not saying we're not still having the same conversation, but I'm saying things would have been a lot more nerve-wracking for Giants fans in the last couple of seconds.
Welker was targeted 8 times and had 7 receptions with
Yep.
that one missed chance that he had.
And I think
late in the
Deion
game.
Branch dropped 2 passes.
Deion
in the
Branch
same
had
drive.
just a rough game.
Yep.
He did catch 3 passes for 45 yards, but I mean, Gronkowski looked subpar. He looked injured. So
Yep.
I mean, it's kind of hard to
You
throw
could
out your
tell.
best player.
He did his best, and he did a good job, but his best wasn't 100% in this game, and the Patriots suffered for that.
which I'll hit later.
Yeah.
But the final score ended up being 21-17. Another big end to a great season. Probably one of the. I think this season probably tops last season as far as
absolutely.
just a wonderful, wonderful season. But let's hit some of the storylines real quick. Speaking of Gronkowski was filmed after the game,
Party.
partying with his shirt off, jumping, dancing around on his injured ankle. I mean, you have to think, if you're the Patriots, what are you doing, man?
Well, I'm not the Patriots, so I can only answer according to my my opinion, but I don't have a problem with it. What else is he supposed to do? Go cry in an alleyway with fans? I mean, he's got a life. He's a professional athlete, but we sometimes forget that these guys do have lives.
I agree, but the epitome for most players in the NFL, or actually most players in sports, is to get to that championship game.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't even get to that championship game. I mean, look at Tony Gonzalez. Tony Gonzalez is probably going to be a Hall of Famer. He should be a Hall of Famer.
Never been.
Never been to the
Never
Super
won a
Bowl.
playoff game.
Never won a playoff game. So you have to think, if Gonzalez was in that same spot,
He wouldn't be doing the
he
same.
wouldn't be doing the
No.
same thing. But a lot of it is simply because you have to think about it and say, I just lost possibly the biggest game of my life. I may never be back here again. Why are you going to go out
It's a little
partying?
different when you're on the Patriots.
Well, at the same time, I mean, think about it. Why are you going to go out partying if you may never be back? Your injury
because
may...
make the best of the situation. Maybe not in public, but I still don't have a problem. I see where you're coming from, but you're not going to get me to say that he shouldn't have done that. Agree to disagree.
A few headlines we're going to hit. Todd Haley, who was the Kansas City head football coach last season, has now been named offensive coordinator for the Steelers. Huge move for Steelers?
I think so. I mean, certainly a step up from what they were. I mean, I can't remember the guy's name that was fired, forcibly retired, as they say. Definitely a step up. I mean, you can't really go wrong. Certainly Todd Haley's an offensive-minded coach.
Absolutely.
And is now back in his element.
Yeah.
So I agree with it. I wouldn't mind.
I got two more stories, and I'm going to leave the one that I think you're going to be most biased of last. Ricky Williams retired from the NFL this season, or today, rushing 10,000 rushing yards. Probably going to go down as, I would say he's probably one of the best. He really has been.
Top 10. Yeah.
Minus the issue that he had with the marijuana issues that he was running into. He still made a comeback and came back and played with just ungodly talent.
Yep.
I mean, the kid's good, and we wish him all the best, Ricky. Come on the show if you ever want to have some fun and talk about the NFL.
Well, we still got to get Reggie Brown on the show. He just lives down the street. So.
This is true. And finally, we're going to hit on Noshawn Moreno getting a DUI in Denver this past weekend.
Okay. I actually didn't know about this. So.
Oh, really?
Really?
Oh.
I'm just now learning about this.
Noshawn Moreno was pulled over.
Okay.
First of all, he was going through a construction zone.
Okay.
Which is 45.
Yep.
He was pulled over for 70.
Okay.
He had DUI.
Was he actually fail a breathalyzer?
Yes.
Or okay, so he was actually drunk. This isn't just a cop that wants to be a superstar.
Yeah.
Okay, because we've had that before.
On top of everything else, do you know what his license plate says?
No.
Sauced.
Okay.
I mean, as a
not
Georgia
the wisest of.
As a Georgia fan, what do you think of your old running back?
There's always going to be the allegiance to those years that but that's college, and when it comes to the NFL, I'm a Bucs fan, and I'll always like Stafford, and I'll always like Champ Bailey, Noshawn Moreno. There's always great Georgia players still out there in the NFL, but bottom line is I'm a Bucs fan, and tough for him. Should make better decisions. Should be more productive on the field.
All right, guys, we're going to close up here. Just remember, we are going to continue tweeting. We are going to continue posting on Facebook. So be sure to follow us on Twitter at Sports Club NFL and on Facebook at facebook.com/sportsclubnfl. This is also going to be the last show for Matt for a while. Matt is leaving for basic training.
Yep.
In what, late March?
Late March, March 26th.
Congratulations, buddy, and we wish you all the best. I know Jeremy and Bryce were here; they'd be doing the same thing. It's kind of rough for me knowing you as long as I have and seeing you go, and I can't tell you how, being an older person, I am proud of you for what you're doing. And we wish you all the best, buddy.
Thank you. I'll make a cameo whenever I'm around.
we hope to see you then. But we're also going to be doing a draft show, and if you guys ever or if you guys want to make an appearance on the draft show, let us know. Send us a video response on YouTube. Send us a tweet on Twitter. Send us a message on Facebook.
Anything.
Anything. Just
Get your name out there.
Yeah,
Get
just
our
get your
attention.
name, something. We will look into it and possibly bring you onto the show for the draft show so you can sit there and talk about your team and why you think your team should draft this person. But that's it for us, guys. We've had a great season 2. I hope you guys come back for season 3. But until the draft show, this has been Matt. Jeremy and Bryce couldn't be here, and I'm Billy. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Go Bucks. Super Bowl 2013.